we on?
We're on.
Today on Geeking Out with Matt Serra, I am so excited. There's not anybody that I could say this about. I spent 30 minutes in the cage with this gentleman, 6 weeks in the house. The great Chris Lytle. Come on in. There he is. Dude, you don't age, first of all. You look great.
Man, look at you. What are you talking about? You look better than when you were fighting back in the day. And I got to say, I love this thing. I love the new dynamic wellness stuff that's got me on my good stuff, make me feel stronger than ever. We're not going to age, Matt. Science, you got to like it.
What are you doing right now to make you look so good? What did you just plug? What are you doing?
Well, I'm fortunate to be working with the BKFC, and they got a place down in Florida, Miami, Dynamic Wellness, and they just send me a package every month, and it's got all kinds of the good on it. I'm taking peptides, I'm taking pills, I got a list. I don't even know what it is. I just say, you tell me what I need to take, and I'm taking it.
I got to get on the peptides. Last time I was with Rogan, he was telling me that too. I heard that's like the Wolverine drug. No, is that what the one is? It's like
there's a bunch of different peptides, a lot of different things you can take. But yeah, if you don't mind giving yourself a little shot in the stomach every night, it's fucking fun.
Oh, really? That's what you got to do? Yeah. I get a shot in the hiney. I do TRT right now. That's why I got abs. I'm sitting down. Lytle, come on, man. We're back on. Look at how shit. I can't pinch anything. Hey, I'm only doing that because, hey, we know each other a long time. You seen me fat. You seen me fat, Chris. You're too nice to say it when you see me. You go to give me a hug. You can't get around me.
You're just in your bulk up phase, dude. You're strong. You're getting stronger. I get that. Bulk up phase. They do that, right?
Yeah, I heard that's a thing. But I don't know. That's what I would say. But I used to get fat. Hey, let's reminisce a little bit. Let's go back to before season 4. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the house. We're going to get into the antics. Yeah, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it. One thing we both like about it is we never lost a fight in the house. And
that's the best thing.
And we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But you arguably didn't lose a fight in the finale. Hey, we're going to get to that.
We'll talk.
God knows you won the rematch, though. But we're going to talk. Chris, listen. I remember. Do you remember the first time us meeting or no?
Only time I just remember us really meeting in the house because I didn't know you before that.
I don't know if we ran into each other before that, but I think in the house is my first memory of us. Well, we've definitely bonded in the house. We were roommates, but that's off. I remember
immediately.
What's that?
I thought immediately.
Yes.
I was like, I like this guy. I could tell you had this really good positive energy. And so we kind of started doing. I remember the first night we were talking about it. Me and you we're gonna win this thing together. We were gonna be on the same page. I remember that. We were out by the pool and we were talking like, yeah, I think me and you were gonna be in the finals.
That is so hysterical, man. I remember that. I remember a lot of things about the house, but I do remember that. I remember it was right through the double doors. It was before we got to the back because this camera's everywhere. There was always microphones everywhere. You know what I mean? So we were always having our guard up. Before we get into that, I remember you were over in Japan first, right? Well, didn't you fight in Japan? What did you get started in? When you were a kid, what did you do anything growing up in Indiana?
Man, the only thing I did was wrestling. I didn't do any really martial arts. I did boxing for a little bit, but not much. It was wrestling that really got me involved because wrestling, you get that wrestler mindset, and the wrestler mindset, obviously that dominates the sport of mixed martial arts, in my opinion. So doing that, that was my transition in 1998. Early, I started going to a place where they were doing fighting and jiu-jitsu. And now to be honest, I've never owned a gi, so I don't want to claim to be a jiu-jitsu guy. I was more of a catch wrestling type of guy, but I just went into a gym. I had a friend there, and they were competing and fighting. I said, this is crazy shit. I gotta get involved with this because I was a good wrestler, but I didn't really know what they were doing. So I learned it was pretty easy to transition to the new moves. But then I started working on a lot of stand-up and kind of fell in love with the striking portion as well.
I did not know that you started with wrestling. I mean, I thought the ears just came over time. I'm jealous of your years, man.
Well, the reason you probably didn't know I started with wrestling is because you probably never saw me try and take anybody.
That's
I abandoned the wrestling pretty quick.
But it does make sense because shit, you are hard to get down, but you're very good off your back. You always claim to be a white belt, but man, you going to white belt Naga, you're a sandbagger, Chris Lytle. Let me tell you something. I knew, and this is gonna carry over to our second fight. I'm gonna talk about that, but I knew if I got you down, I'm like, the chance of me submitting you in 5 minutes is fucking. Dude. I mean, I don't remember getting you in the house. You do. You're very good, Chris. I knew you're very humble. And you even had jiu-jitsu grappling matches. Did you have one with Jake Shields?
Yeah, that was a fun one, man. It was weird. I remember I'm just sitting there one day. I get a text message from Chael Sonnen, and he was like, "Hey, I got an opportunity for you. Jake Shields, no pay grappling match." I said. So I responded. I said, "Is there points?" He goes, "No, EBI rules." I go, "I'm in." He was like, "Really?" I go, "How do you pass up a chance to go with Jake Shields?" And he was kind of blown away because I know he thought I wouldn't take it for no pay. But I was like, "Man, how do I?" I'm always wanting to push myself. He was one of the best grapplers I felt like at that weight class. I want to go in there and see how I did with him.
He submits world-class fighters in the octagon. I mean, he's got his game it evolved, but the fundamentals. He passes, he mounts, he smashes. And you were getting out of tight spots and then squirming at scrambles. So it's like, and he's the top of the food chain. So, hey, man.
It was weird to me when I didn't even know the rules going there. I thought if it went the time limit, it was done. Then we got there, like, oh, no, he gets to start with your back now. Or he gets to start with you with an arm. I'm like, what kind of shit is this? Horrible rules, man. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I got out of this stuff. I squirmed out eventually.
Man, like I said, almost impossible to submit. And I'm not crazy about that rule set for that reason. Because the better grappler doesn't always win. It's like if a guy's got good defense and then he's got a really good, Hickson said it best. I remember he was on Joe Rogan one time and Eddie Bravo was on there with him and they were talking about, and Eddie Bravo was talking about the rule set. And then he goes, well, if it's overtime, there's no points. And if it's overtime, you start either with an arm lock or you start in the back. And Hickson goes, well, the problem, I'm going to paraphrase, but he goes, the problem is they didn't conquer that position. They didn't earn to get to that position. If you want to try to get my back, or get me in an arm straight, that's a task in its own. You're not getting that. I mean, but so you start from there. They might be money at finishing it, but they didn't earn the right to be there. So that's a weird rule set. And I brought it actually up to Eddie. And in fairness, he goes, no, I get it. He goes, but if you have unlimited time, he goes, you have to make it more of a game. So I get it. I do get it. It's nice. I bring you up on UFC Unfiltered quite a bit. Because there's kids nowadays watching and they're brand new fans. Throw Chris Lytle's name in UFC Fight Pass. You'll be entertained. How many fight of the night bonuses did you get, by the way?
I got 6 of them.
Dude, that doesn't come on.
Now,
man.
I think the only weird thing is me and you had some fights before they were giving out bonuses. So I think I might have had a couple more if it weren't for that. I know I won the tap out of the night once. It was like this big glass plaque. $0 though, $0 fucking dollars. I like the money, man.
Right? No, I'm with you on that. I think that the plaque is nice, but with the money, maybe I'll get a plaque, a little smaller or something. But yeah. I got 1 fighter night bonus. Oh, no, I got 2. I got 1 with Matty Hughes, too. The other one was Frank Trigg. Anyway, I'm always picking on Trigg.
I like both those fights you had, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Dude, you have.
I kind of disagree with you. But you should have got knockout the night against Frank Trigg because that was a one-sided beatdown.
I did get knocked out of the night. I did. It made me so happy. But the problem is,
I got a bad story for you, real quick.
Yes, tell me.
One story.
Please do.
When we fought in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Afterwards, I'm down in the locker room. I'm walking, and somebody walks up to me and goes, Chris, I got something for you. Boom, handed me a check. $70K. I go, what's this? He goes, you guys got fight the night. I go, fight the night. I said, fuck, yes. So I go to my after fight party. I go home. I tell the wife, we won fight the night. She's excited. I go to bed. I get up in the morning. I'm doing my thing. And next thing I know, I get a phone call. it's Las Vegas number. Okay, answer. I can't even remember who it was, but he's like, Chris, I don't know how to tell you this, but I made a mistake. You didn't win the fight of the night. And I sat there for about 3 seconds, and I go, I already cashed a check. And he goes, Chris, it's Sunday. And we both started laughing. I was like, all right. Because I tried to get by.
That's
And he's like, well, we'll just void the check. I was like, they took it away. You messed up. You give me that 70 grand, but they didn't. So
that's horrible.
I was unhappy. That's brutal, Matt.
That is brutal. But when was that? Right before the after party of you winning the fight? I was getting stitched up at that time by Dr. Willard or something. Hey, Indiana ER. How's an ER around here in New York and Los Angeles on a Saturday night? Pretty busy, probably. Yeah. Only me in this fucking. I'm in the sticks. Listen, I'm not attacking Indiana, but I'm the only one in the emergency room getting the 50 stitches and Longo making faces. I go, Longo, are you serious? Anyway, we're gonna get to the rematch really quick. Okay. But hey, so Japan. How did you end up in Japan? How'd you end up in Japan?
Okay, so I started fighting in the Midwest, in 1998. It wasn't, when you go to a fight, you'd be like, this guy, what does he do? Well, he's a wrestler. He's a boxer. He's a kickboxer. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Nobody was really doing a lot of cross-training, early days. So
yeah,
it was pretty easy to dominate in the Midwest scene, and I was doing really well. And I had a guy named Jason Gotze who was over fighting in Pancrase, and he was doing really well. And his manager, Phyllis Lee, the lady who used to manage Dan Severn, you see like UFC 4, and she's over there with like her cane banging on the game.
I remember her.
Yeah, she was his manager, so she'd come to some of the fights, and she was the only way to get to Japan through Pancrase. Like she was a United States representative, so I was, Jason was like, man, I'll get you in there. But it was weird back then. Pancrase had no weight limit. It was open weight class, and so it was funny. I weighed about 175 pounds, and they didn't want people that weight. So I told her I weighed 190. How did she not know I didn't weigh 190? But it was funny. I was like, oh, I weigh 190. No, I think she said, Chris, how much do you weigh? Please tell me you weigh at least 190. I go, yeah, well, 191. Yeah. So she started getting me the booking to go over there. And I know when I first got there, like, this dude don't weigh 190, but I got over there. It didn't matter.
Your first time fighting over there, what was that like, the experience?
Nerve-wracking, brother. I'd been fighting in little house shows, little things throughout the Midwest. And I go to Japan. There's probably 5,000 people there, real production. They picked me up at the airport, had a little sign, Mr. Chris Lytle, and gave me my per diem and all this, and there's media, and I was just like, dude, I'm in over my head.
You had to be excited, man. I had to be super excited. You felt something out of blood sport or something.
Bro, it was, and the guy was fighting probably like 210 pounds with his big old head, looked like Bert or Ernie, whatever the big head is, big old Japanese guy, and I was like, man, he outweighed me by a lot, and it was one 15-minute round, like no breaks. You could headbutt, you could do anything in there, but it was definitely nerve-wracking when you had to meet. And I remember I woke up the night before at like 3 a.m. because, your time change is different. But yeah. I couldn't go back to bed. My nerves were going. And I was like, man, you got to sleep. But people don't understand, like, your first big fight like that, what the nerves, they can do everything. They can make it so tough. And I remember in that fight, I was going real hard. I was fighting at the 9-minute mark. No breaks. Remember that 9 minute? I stood up. And I almost fell down because I was so tired. The referee was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah. I was like, I can't move. I remember about 8 minutes in, I thought, I can't knock this guy out. And I can't submit him. I was like, I just have to make it to the end because I'm so tired. Shit. That adrenaline dump was real, brother.
Yeah.
And I was tired.
I had that adrenaline dump in my first UFC fight, actually. You got some good experience over there, though, no? How many times you fight in Japan?
Like 13.
Jeez.
But like I said, it was weird because I went over there and trained for a while and stayed with those guys. And that's when I learned how to really train. Like we trained 6 days a week, twice a day. It just went hard. It was just not, they had skill, but it was just you go in there and you work your ass off. And those guys, they weren't really technically that good at the beginning, but they just got hard-nosed and tough. And and what sucked for them is they all fought each other all the time. They had bad records. They were like, not bad, but they were like 15 and 11. Motherfucker, you fought 30 good guys. Yeah, you're going to have a messed up record, but They just fought their ass. It was an amazing organization, great fighters. But I mean, every fight you had in there was going to be a war with a good guy who'd been training his ass off. It was tough.
When did you get the call for the UFC?
The first time I fought was under. It was like in 2000. But that was for SEG when Bob
Yeah.
Marlich was still running, and it was like in 2 rounds. It was dumb, man. I didn't like it. So and it was such a bad organization. Like how it was ran, same day weigh-ins. I remember that I was like, I don't even like it. I went back to the fighting in Japan.
Oh,
And
that's
I remember
wild.
they had to have like, they dilated my eyes like the day of the fight. They're like, oh, you didn't get your done with an ophthalmologist. It was an ophthalmologist. We got to get your eyes dilated. So I remember the day of the fight in the morning, I go get my eyes dilated. I'm leaving. I can't barely see. It was fucking crazy, dude. Like, I didn't like it. But then I saw when Zuffa bought it and
Yeah.
Dana White, I was like, I want to fight back in here. But it was hard to get in. So I had to. I think after that, my first time was in 2003 when I fought Robbie Lawler at the Mohegan Sun.
Oh, that was a great fight, man. And that's what. And that after that, you went right into the Ultimate Fighter.
No, no, no. After that, like I fought Robbie, lost a good fight, and then
Yeah.
I fought Ronald Junn next, and no. I fought Tiki next and beat him, and
Yeah.
fought Ronald Junn and beat him, and then I lost to Carl Parisian, and then I go no. Then I fought my buddy Joe Riggs.
Oh, that's right.
And that one always gets me because like it was we were buddies and that was his first time making 170, so I was like, all right, he's gonna gas out because he cuts all this weight.
Yeah.
And first round, so weird. We went out there and we're fighting, and I actually took him down. Like he double underhooked me. I threw him in the headlock, and because I went and trained with him for like 2 weeks after that, never took him down once.
Get out of here.
He's really good at the takedowns. I don't know how I did in the fight, but anyway, he's doing good. He's hit me a couple times pretty good, and but he gassed out after the first round, and he came out the second round, took me down. I got on top of him, and I was like, I could tell he was gassed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pass his guard. I'm gonna finish him, and he was on bottom, and he threw an elbow up and cut me open. And
Oh, I remember
I lost
that.
the fight. He gets the fight mad. He was his next fight, so I was like, damn, dude, you just blew your opportunity.
Yeah.
But you're on top and you get cut open. It was crazy.
Whatever happened to Joe Riggs, by the way?
He fought for us in bare knuckles,
I can
man.
see-
I still see him every now and again. He moved up to Montana and then he moved back to Phoenix. He's a great guy. He's hilarious, man. I love Joe.
Yeah, he's always been a good guy. I'm glad he's doing okay. I can see him doing the bare knuckle. I can see him doing that. Now, so after that fight, that led to Ultimate Fighter 4.
Yes. I lost 2 in a row, and they're like, all right, man.
What was your first reaction when they called you like, hey, do you want to be a part of this thing?
Oh man, yeah. I feel like you felt like the same as me when I saw what the Ultimate Fighter was doing for these brand new guys. I was like, man, these guys are getting more popularity than us guys who've been around for a while because you're on this show. I was like, these guys got a huge opportunity. And then when they said I could be on it, and they said you could win some real money, man, I was all about it. I had at that time I had 4 kids. I was full-time firefighter in Indianapolis. I'm the only one working. I'm supporting 6 people. I'm like, I can use the money, man. I can use some money.
Hey.
So I wanted that. I wanted the opportunity. And to be honest with you, I never got the chance to train full-time like a fighter. Like I said, 4 kids and being a full-time firefighter, I was just happy to get a camp together. I never got to train like a real fighter, in my opinion.
That's another thing on season 4 is that we were totally in agreement with. One, I didn't want to ever have the cameras seeing me take a day off where, hey man, you never know that Pete Spratt knee could have landed and I might have fucking lost. You don't want to be losing a fight and then them chopping something up. Well, he was really lazy. He was, you know what I mean? I didn't want to give them a piece. Dude, I remember one session where I was so tired and Mark Del Gradi had us doing some drills and it was like head movement and I was working with you and you kept not missing my head, and you're like, you knew I was tired. You're like, all right, man, just let's get through this. I was so dead one day, but I just didn't. We had to keep showing. We showed up. We were there. Dude, I'll tell you, it was like a gladiator training camp. We were there twice a day, at least 6 days a week. We didn't.
I think 7. I don't think we ever took off, man. I really don't, man.
It's true.
And one thing I always loved about, I remember I vividly remember me and you talking, and some of the people that'd be like, "Oh man, I don't have my phone. I don't
Yeah.
have a radio." I remember thinking, me and you were like, "Dude, there's no place in the world I'd rather be right here." And I get to train with the best people in the world, with some of the greatest coaches. I love that opportunity. You two, like, we took advantage. We're like, I'm not gonna miss any days, and we never miss. I mean, I don't think me and you ever took a day off. I
No,
really
we
don't.
the whole team. We had a real good chemistry. Our team. It's weird how that worked out. And there was some guys on the other team. I like most of the guys in the house, but Team Mojo, which was first called Team Mofo, but they wouldn't accept it. So we changed it, right? Ray Mofo. But we changed it to Mojo. But we had such a good time. And it's probably worse now if the kids nowadays, because they probably got their social media. But it's so odd when you don't have a television or any kind of music or anything. It's all glamorous when they're watching it, at home because they have the music and they're fighting next. But when you're in there, if you're in there for the wrong reasons, to try to be famous or this and that, it comes out. Just like in fighting, if you're not a real fighter and you pretend to be and you get in that cage, it comes out. So we were all real. We knew that. We had nothing to prove. And do you remember the van rides when we were good boys and we'd be quiet and they'd play some music for us?
I always remember this. I always remember at one point, Matt, you'd always say, "I don't know about you guys, but I got nothing to say."
Yeah.
We sit there for about 10 seconds and be like, "All right," they turn it off, put some music on.
They're funny, man, because if we kept yapping, they don't want to get in trouble. I get it, but it feels like they're the fucking wardens or some shit. Like we're good. Can we have some music, please? We're quiet. We're good inmates. But shit, man, nothing but fond memories from that house. I am.
And, I think it's like you said, me and you both did well.
Oh,
That really helps our memories. You know what I mean? If you go out there and got that SB first round, you're like, that shows.
100%. But we seized that opportunity, man. We really did, And it could be a little nerve wracking because you don't know who you got next in that house. It was an odd setup with that because mentally you have to be pretty tough because it's like, all right, I got this guy in my mind. Now I'm getting this guy, and you could be if you're not mentally strong, it can get the best of you.
I cannot imagine. I mean, think about that too. What a weird fucking situation where you're gonna fight that guy right there who you're living with. I mean, he's in your house with you. You're seeing him train. You're seeing him go to like. That's weird, man. I mean, that you never have that in any other situation. You might be eating dinner with that guy the day before you fight him. That is not a normal fighting situation.
Oh no, it's not. And the fight itself, there's something to be said about the arena when you're in there with so many people in the crowd, and it's almost like you can get lost in that. But it's also something else when you can hear a pin drop. I remember the first fight. Dean Thomas looks to us. He goes, "Man, you're like in a warehouse. Some rich white people watching me off to the side." He goes, "This is scary." He goes, "Remember that?" He goes, "This is scary." He goes, "Kind of scary. You hear all the punches." It wasn't. It did feel like almost something illegal. It felt like we were like, right? I mean, it's fucking
For
crazy.
sure, man. Like, only thing I can compare that to is Japan. I mean, you go to Japan, dead silent, until you almost get a submission. Then everybody goes, "Oh," and then it gets quiet again. They clap and get out of it. It's kind of like that. I think that helped me. I'd fought in Japan a lot. And I remember you had been to Japan once for a fight, but your opponent got burned up right before.
Yeah, I spoke about it on the show before, where in Pride there was a miscommunication or a language problem with the Japanese lady and my Brazilian opponent, and he walked up on the pyrotechnics and got lit up. Joe Oliveira, so that's what got me over in Abu Dhabi, and then the UFC found me that way. So it's a weird way things work out. I would have been a Pride fighter, which was interesting,
Wow.
But I'm happy the way it worked out. So now, here we go. Me and you, like we predicted in the finale.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Dana White predicted Dean Thomas to win the whole thing. I'm just letting you know that.
Interesting. Hey, but you know what? Dean's a legit slick fight. I mean, I didn't realize how good that guy was on the ground, so I started training with him, and then it is like, I didn't want nothing to do. He had great triangle game, and he big hands. He could manipulate you quite a bit. So I knew when we fought that when I got it to the ground, I wasn't real active. It wasn't
squirming.
I had to be very careful because that dude is slick and he's good on his feet. I can see Dana thinking that, but come on, Dana, you had me.
Yeah, right. I'm very happy for Dean Thomas now. He's all over the place.
I love Dean Thomas, but you two. I mean, I like a lot of people on our show, but you two were, my top two.
Yeah. We had we had a tight squad. It was us. It was one bunk bed was me and Pete Drago Sal, and the other across the one was you and Dean Thomas. That was a good room. It's a savage room. Man. So now we are in the finale, right? So again, dude, the one thing that made this fight, which made it so rough for us, is that, dude, the guy who wins, $100,000, another $100,000 thing from Zions, a car. The guy who doesn't win, fucking 10 G's, something ridiculous. Dude, it was not balanced. It was not balanced, Chris Lytle. So if you look at the fight, it's so funny because you look at that fight and then you look at both of us after that fight. So let's talk about the fight itself and then we'll talk about the good things that happened after. Because the fight itself was an odd one to score. And the judges shown that where you hear one judge say 30-27 for you. You hear another judge say 30-27 for me. They're seeing it totally opposite.
I've never seen that before.
Dude, that's not a normal thing. So then the other judge gives another 30-27 for me. It literally could have went either way. We went out of there unscathed. We were trying, but we were trying to win, and we were both trying not to lose. Does that make sense?
That's what I always say. I said neither one of us. There was too much riding on it. Like you said, I wanted this money for my family. You wanted to have your wife not be able to work.
Yes.
There was too much ride on it. I don't think they should ever do a thing like that. I think it's wrong to do to somebody. But we were both fought to not lose. And to be honest with you, I thought it was not an entertaining fight. Like, and that's when even they talked about the rematch. I was like, it was a terrible fight. I don't want to do it again. I love Matt. I'm not going to fight him again. That's why I told Joe at first. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like early, my thought process going in was, I don't want to be on the ground with this guy. Like, I think if he takes me down, he's so good on the ground, it's gonna be a problem. So I want to keep it on my feet at all costs. And I think, when you were very smart, and I remember you talking about this on the show, put people in the cage, foot stuff, little things just to be controlling and winning that. Like when you would push me to the fence, I remember I was thinking, all right, he's not really landing anything. He's not getting the takedown. I'm landing some little. I'm like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm doing like a 1. He's doing a 0. I think I'm close. Looking at it now, I think it's, if you were pushing me in the fence and controlling me, you are winning. So I have no problem with the judges. Now, I did at the time, but I'm really looking back. I would give it to you. At the time, I didn't think like that.
Yeah.
But, I thought that's why I like when sometimes we'll go to school, like with the bareknuckle, we'll go to some states and we'll do live scoring. So like in between each round, if you're winning or losing. I didn't know I was losing, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll just keep doing this. You just don't know,
Yeah. That's odd. You do that sometimes?
How did you feel during that fight? What did you think? Do you think I'm pushing him against the fence, I'm winning?
I felt I wasn't getting you down. I mean, the foot stomps, even one, they're annoying as shit, and it could maneuver your legs into me getting a takedown. And two, they're not bad optics. I even talked about that on the show, where it's not bad. Hey, we're both sitting up against there. I'm working the shit out of a leg or a foot, or at least you're hearing that bang, bang, bang. One guy's, you know what I mean? You're keeping me from getting you down, but it might look like I'm doing more. No, that's not. I was trying, man. You're not easy to get down. You know what I mean? I wish you were. I went for a few inside leg trips. So, but then you took me down. When you took me down, I threatened with an omoplata. Dude, it really is. But nobody's really getting to the next steps of their plan here. You know what I mean? Like, you're keeping it up, but I'm not getting worked over. I'm looking to get. I went to sit to. I wanted to try a couple of sit into leg lock thing. You took it right away, so now I'm on my back. It is an odd fight. It was an odd fight.
Matt, when you do like the judges seminars or referees and all that, they go to the scoring criteria. It's like effective strikes, effective aggression, ring, and like they had to go to like the third or fourth thing on the list to decide that fight, which is rare. You know what I mean? Like
it was rough.
Look at who's control. Octagon control. Well, people never go to that. It's usually the first couple criteria. They had to go deep to figure that out, in my opinion.
100%. And the one thing I'm really pissed about, and look, keeping you down's a problem. Submitting you is almost impossible. But just like you were talking about with Dean Thomas, I can't rush down there. Now, there was one point in this fight where I was doing a fake, and I'm like, I'm happy at least I laid, listen, it didn't hurt you at all, but I did a fake a side kick to a back fist that kind of bounced off your head. And when that happened, you gritted your mouth teeth and you came at me and it let me get a takedown. I actually got a takedown off that. And I'm trying to methodically stand up. Now, dude, Chris, we rolled in the house. I know if I try to get past your guard, you're going to get up. So I'm trying to get my hand free. I'm trying to be technical. Fucking Herb Dean stands us up. Now look, dude, why am I complaining now? I'm just taking it only because I earned that takedown. You might have got up. You probably would have got up, but shit, man, that annoyed the shit out of me.
I was gonna hold you as tight as possible. Dean, what's going on, Dean? Come on, do your job. You know?
Man, but anyway. That's a fight that literally could have went either way, and I had no desire to ever fight you again because we were really close. Our families would go out to eat. Remember we had the Tavern on the Green with the family?
Yeah,
that was good.
Well, bro, I gotta tell you though, like looking back now, I'm so glad the way that fight turned out like that. It was the best thing that ever happened to both of us, in my opinion. But I love the fact how it turned out. I'm glad you won that fight. I really am. If anybody's gonna win, I was glad with you, man. You just, I was so happy. Looking back, I'm glad you won that fight.
It was a bitter pill, even in victory, where I was happy, but I was sad for you. Even my wife knew. I was just like, man, this is great, but I was still not as joyous. You can even see after the victory. I'm like, it was weird. It was a weird one, but thank God for that one judge. I'm fucking around, Chris. I needed it. Holy shit. No, listen. So let's talk.
I was happy that you went out like that because, especially you go out there and shock the world with that next fight. I just watched that the other day. It was on, and I remember when I'm sitting down to watch that fight, I was with my boxing coach, and he was in my corner all the time. And within the first 30 seconds, he goes, he's going to catch him with the right hand. Because my guy could tell it was going to happen. He said, because he kept saying, you throw that right hand, just a little bit off. He's like, he's going to catch him. And boom, it happened. I was like, oh, my God, you were right. I was so happy when that happened.
Oh, man. But you know what? Let's talk about the aftermath of how that fight affected both of us. Not the St. Pierre fight, but after our fight. Because we were, ever since then, we were both like that. Where, I went on to lose the rematch with St. Pierre, but then I'm not upset with my fight with Matt Hughes. You know what I mean? And
I thought you won.
Thank you so much, buddy. But and I did get to knock him down. I was talking about that on Joe's show when Joe brings out my head hit him, and I'm telling him my head might have connected. You seen it? I felt it, and my right hand dropped him. But anyway, he's on hard times now, but. He's doing better, I heard. But then I got to knock out Trigg, and it got me started. And then you went on a fucking tear. You were just getting fight night bonus. But I remember seeing you after that going, hey, Matt, I know that was a rough thing for us to go through, but like I'm happy now. Don't feel bad about it. Because I think you probably cashed your 5th check-in in a row, your fucking fight night checks, fight of the bonus, knockout of the night, submission of the night, fight of the night. Dude, you were just... fan favorite is a word that they would say now. Like, this dude, I gotta see this guy fight.
Well, man, like you said, after that fight, like it was probably a month. I was just like, I didn't even know if I want to fight anymore, man. I was like, man, you had you had the opportunity in your hand, you blew it, and then eventually I said, man, after about a month, I remember I was thinking, I sit there, and I'll wake up at like 2 a.m. sometimes, couldn't go back to bed. I remember at one point I said, you know what, Chris, like you owe your kids a couple $100,000. I don't care if you fight till you're 100, you're gonna figure it out. And I started thinking, man, these bonuses. Because I remember on that show, some of the people like that Scott Smith, he made more money with his bonuses than I made in all my fights. And I was like, man, he lost first round. I made it to the finals. But I remember he won the fight of the night and the knockout of the night. I said, all right, you got enough skill. You're gonna start getting some of those bonuses. I remember being in the back of the locker room warming up, and somebody get a good knockout. And I looked at my coach. I go, we're going for submission of the night. Like I was legitimately trying to get bonuses. Like that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to come out here. I'm going to try and knock you out. And if you take me down, I'm going to try and submit you. And if I lose, I'd rather lose that way than do anything. I'm trying to take people out. And once I did that, my mindset changed because I said I've lost bigger fights, decisions. I don't care. As long as I come to fight, I'm not going to be unhappy with my performance. As long as I try and take you out, I don't care. And once I did that, I gained more fans. I don't want bonuses. So I learned something about myself. Like if I put my mindset to something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna accomplish it no matter what. And that's why I'm glad the fight turned out like that. Let's say the other judge gives it to me. I went and fought. Maybe I never get that mindset, Matt. Maybe I never know that I can accomplish it no matter what happens. But now I know it. Now I believe that in every part of my life now. So that's why I'm so glad you won that fight, because you went out there and shocked one of the great things in your life is went in the right direction. And I feel like mine has too. If it went the other way, I don't know if that's what happens, but it did happen like this. So that's why I'm so glad you won that fight.
Well, thank you, man. You're glad the judges gave it to me. Close fight. We're going to get to the rematch. The rematch, how it got started was we were bamboozled. We were bamboozled by it. Let's say his name in 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Joe Silva. Joe Silva. That little fucker. Now, let me tell you about Joe Silva. Joe Silva was the UFC matchmaker. And, man, in the beginning, I really liked Joe Silva. He was a little nerdy guy. I would have him on this show in a heartbeat because we talk about a lot of geeky shit in here. He was a comic book guy like myself. And you know me with that. I would take, how about this? There was times, I remember Luke Cuomo was having a fight one time. Hey, Matt, what you doing? I'm like, hey, Joe, come with us. We're going to go see Pineapple Express. I took him with us. He went to the mall with us. He was a nice guy. Power corrupts. Power corrupts. He became a little shit towards the end. Dude, he told me listen, leading up to the fight, first he would tell people, don't go out there, be friends with him. He would just be a nasty little prick. That fight sucked. It's like, hey, dude, there's a way of saying things. You know what I mean?
There's a problem to me when there's a person who's not a fighter starts telling you your fight sucks. Like they're not all. You can't have a good fight all the time. Don't talk to your fighter. Then you can say that. But go ahead.
And in the position that he's in, you think it would be a little bit more. He'd be a little bit more classy with everything. I was very annoyed with him towards the end, and then to get our fight, I remember he brought up the fight to me, and I'm like, I go, is there anybody else? I'm really tight with Chris. He goes, Matt. He's been asking for this rematch since the first one. He goes, he's been dying for this rematch since the first one, and I know Joe alone, and until then, I don't really think the guy was bullshitting me before. I mean, I knew the guy. I don't know how we did not talk before that, but we didn't somehow. And he said here, and I don't know if he said you already signed or something. He's waiting for me, and I'm like, fuck, man, and
And that's what really bothered me, and that's when I don't know if I lost respect for him, but I was like, I never once asked for that fight. Even when he brought it up, I was like, man, the first fight was not good, man. I was like, why do we do this again? He's like, and I think it was because it was our first fight in Indianapolis. He would have a big thing or something. So like, and I didn't really want to do it. I even called my guys like, well, Matt, I never turned out. I'm Joe. If you want me and Matt to fight, tell me that till I'm fighting. Don't go making up shit about what I said. Yeah. I never asked him once for that fight, ever. Never. You know what I asked for? I remember the one time I did ask for Matt Brown. I told him I want guys who are going to come
of course.
Put on a show and try and take me out. Because I'm going to get fight tonight no matter what if they do that.
Yeah.
I never brought your name into that once. And remember at the weigh-ins, we brought that up to him. Don't come here. And he kind of just
he darted
hauled around and went the other direction because I was like, I never said that. Why did you say this?
Yeah.
He didn't have anything to say. He didn't say, yes, you did, Chris. Yes, you did. No, because I didn't. I didn't.
And there's enough, and I feel there was enough bodies out there, and we already shared the cage together. But you know what?
That was my thought too. But that's what pissed me off. Like we're professionals, Joe. If you tell me who I'm fighting, I'll fight him. But don't lie to him because that made me feel like I'm telling you one thing to your face and something else behind your back, and that's not me.
Yeah, and that's not us. So, it ended up getting signed. We're fighting in your hometown. So, one, I had to get mentally prepared to be like, look, my mindset going into that fight was because the first fight sucked, we were going to make it more exciting. And now, listen, I know my bread and butter. I'm a heavy-handed jiu-jitsu guy, and my best way to win a decision is to try to fight you kind of similar to the last time, but maybe add more strikes in and then try to get you down. And the best bet to win a decision would probably be to outpoint you that way. the best way to try to stop you. That's what I was trying to think. And it was something I had to get past first, but then we're us, Chris, we're gladiators. So my thing is, if I try to get him down, if I do get him down, chances are I'm not fucking submitted him. Very unlikely. So the best way, I watched all your fights. You never been knocked out, but there's times when you've been maybe knocked down with the Joe Riggs fight. Yeah, I studied. And I'm like, and not only that, it's not that I was falling in love with my power, but I did what I did with George. I know what I did with Caro that time. In sparring, I was doing well, and I knew about how your fucking hands are. And I know you're the more sophisticated boxer, and you got soup bones. But I'm thinking my best shot to try to stop this fight is to try to hurt you standing, and then if I get you down, then I'll get you, then I'll finish you on the floor or something like that. That's the mindset I'm trying to. We're savages. And, that didn't work. Not fucking around. Chris, you could take a fucking punch. Let me tell you something. There's times in there that I rolled with some shit in the pocket, and I think most people will probably remember you landing your soup bones on me, which you did a lot. But I landed some nice rolling counters to you. And I think a guy with a lesser chin would have been on the floor. Frank Trigg was. And so after I felt that you were taking my shots, I'm like, all right. By third round, I added in some kicks, and I went for one little outside trip. But I kind of stayed the course to the very end, to your delight. And one of the things I remember very distinctly is I'm coming at you, and I know it might have been the 10-second mark. And before the bell even rang, you were putting your hands out that like thank me or hug me. I think you were very pleased that I stood up with you, and the bell didn't ring yet, and I was still coming towards you. So I'm like, I remember thinking, I didn't hear a fucking. Am I gonna punch? He's about to hug me. Am I punching? I'm like, what? Would I be a real prick if I think it? But then the bell rang, and then we hugged. But what was your take on that on the rematch?
I was a little worried it was going to be like the first because he's not going to just sit here and want to trade punches with me. Like I said, I'm very fortunate. I feel like, I do have like that Homer Simpson syndrome where I got a big thick skull and I can get hit a lot and not get knocked out. You know what I mean? I don't know that's something that people either have or not. I mean, I don't know if you can work on your chin. I like to think it's your mindset. I don't know what it is, but I don't really get knocked. I can take a good punch. So. I remember you hit me with some hard shots. I mean, no shit, I don't want to get hit with that again. But I kept thinking, man, he's gonna start trying to take me down. He's gonna start trying to take me down because I was really worried. My mindset right there is just trying to get good fights and put on and entertain people and be a fan favorite. And that when you sit on the ground and you don't do much, that's not it. So I was constantly nervous about that and worried about that. But I wanted to be a stand-up fight, so I really enjoyed it. But I know now, like looking at your mindset, you understand, like if you win a boring fight, that doesn't help you that much. But if you finish somebody, that puts you in the title hunt right away. So I understood that was your mindset. You got to finish me. So I was glad that's what it was because that's how I was thinking too. You either knock somebody out or you win fight of the night, and that's how you get elevated to the next level. So I was fortunate enough. I had you as a good, smart person who understood that. We went out there and put on a show for the people in my hometown. So I couldn't have been happier.
Tell me how
I did feel bad about one thing I said. There's many times when I come forward, like I've watched obviously all my fights. I'm not real smart sometimes. I come forward with aggressiveness and I've got a scar on my head here from a headbutt of somebody, a scar here on my head from somebody, and unfortunately, I think I had
here it is.
To come forward. You got a scar now, so not intentional, but I'm always coming forward trying to take people out. So I apologize for that. Daily reminder, my friend.
No, I love my scar. I fucking love this. It looks so cool. You got one right around the same. That wasn't from me though. You didn't get cut with me, did you?
No, this was from a different fight, but man, it just.
Hey, Chris, I'll tell you, that one. I remember between the first and second round, Longo goes, and some things stick out in your head more than others. He goes, "This is the war you wanted." Meanwhile, I got a fucking vagina on my head. This thing was, oh, dude, that thing was big. And then how many and I had to do another fucking 11 minutes with that thing on my I'm like, in my mind I'm like, I wanted it. I'm like, fuck, this is rough. But we got through it, and dude, we did throw down though. We did fucking throw down. I listen, I take it as a fucking moral victory. I came in this game a jiu-jitsu guy. You put a lot of people to sleep, buddy. And I'm glad I left it. That was my final fight in the UFC. And there's so many guys that are like, oh, well, they lose their last one. They want to lose on a win. I never felt that after that. I felt that I tried to challenge myself versus a better pugilist with the fucking hands. And fucking, you put it on me, some nice shots. And even though I came up short, no pun intended, Christian, don't touch that. The come up short thing. Chris wouldn't touch that, but I'm waiting for you to snicker. But even though I didn't win, we threw down. It wasn't something I'm ashamed of.
Like you said, dude, I got the nickname Lights Out by Pete Souza from Top Rank Boxing because I can knock people out, and I landed about everything I could against you. It almost made my confidence go away a little bit because I mean, when you hit somebody flushes and knock them out, that kind of hurts you. Somebody with the name Lights Out, so I was like, damn, dude, that dude's he's just tough. I mean, it didn't really bother me because I just knew how tough you were. I mean, not only physically but just mentally tough. So I was like, I mean,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, it kind of makes you feel bad when you land good shots and you can't hurt somebody. It was unreal, man.
At one point, you felt bad. I think if you land,
I couldn't ask for a better fight, man.
Thank you.
Perfect. I like wars, man. I mean, I'd rather fight a war than a 10-second victory. I want to be proud of myself.
Man, it's definitely never. It's not a fight that will ever keep me up at night. And it's going to sound odd because, again, I was in the ER getting stitched up in multiple places. Besides the headbutt, we got some other ones in there. In your hometown, your family walking backstage with you, I was happy for you, and I'm still am. I have a picture of me and you with our heads. It wasn't the headbutt, but it was our heads together, holding each other's heads, and that's the only picture I have in my office at my lounge. I told you that.
Please stop it, because that's the only one I have in my house. It's hanging up in my living room. That's the only one. That's the only fight picture I have hanging up.
Yeah.
That was the man. And like you said, I've never really felt happy for somebody else winning a fight in my life besides
dude.
You. Well, a fight, nobody beating me. I've never been happy for anybody, but you. Now I'm so happy for you, man. So it's mutual. I get it, brother.
Thank you so much, man. Now look, we can't. This is another great thing we have in common. We made it through the other side. We made it through life in the cage. Look at you now. I'm doing my thing. I'm having fun. My podcast, my school. You're done with the fire department. Thank goodness. You are done.
Oh, yeah,
you've been retired. Dude, what a perfect fit with you with the bare knuckle boxing. Now, tell me about what your role is now with that and what you got going on with it.
Okay, I'm the color commentator for BKFC, but I'll also help out I do the tryouts, and I'm basically in charge of fighter development, so I go out there and try to help recruit new fighters. I try and look for talent, see who I think would be good at this sport. We do tryouts all the time, and I kind of go run the tryouts and decide who we think would be good to get in there. And I always tell them, you guys, like, what kind of idiot would want to get in here with no gloves and punch each other? Like I said, you guys aren't smart, but I'm the leader that's not smart. I did some of these fights.
Yes.
You talked about Joe Riggs. I that's how I got involved. And somebody came to the gym and go, your buddy Joe Riggs is fighting bare knuckle. I said, what? Why? It's like, does he owe money? Why would he do that? I kind of watched it. After I'm watching, I was like, who do I talk to do one of these? I've been retired for 6 years. I was like, I have to do one. I did 3 of them, and I love the sport, man. It's so much fun. So, yeah, they got me in charge of.
I'll tell you, if you were even younger, I could see you even doing more. And I'm not trying to bait you back. Go back in there. Don't do it, Chris. Come on, you're doing great behind the.
I'm 50, brother. Come on, I'm not doing it. But when I was younger, I love this sport. It's so much fun.
You were in your 40s when you were in that, though.
Bro, I had one fight at 43 and 2 at 44.
Dude, come on, man. I saw you doing the bare knuckle. I'm like, gee, then I saw you just beating the shit out of people. Like, all right, I'm not going to have an intervention with him. He's doing all right. You know what I mean? If I saw you started doing the power slap, I might have a talk with you though, Chris. I might just
Please do. I want to talk about it.
I'm not gonna attack it either. Well, it's my buddy's thing. But hey, listen, Chris, man, dude, usually on the show we geek out about some stuff. I don't even think you're a movie guy though, are you?
Yeah, I love movies.
Give me your favorite, man. Give me your fucking top, something that just you got a fight coming up. What moves you, man? What is the one that just Is there one particular that you go to?
I mean, fight-wise movie, man. Is that my fight, man? I tell you, I don't know. You know what movie I absolutely love? There's a couple boxing movies I love. I love Cinderella Man, and I love the movie The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg. Have you seen that movie?
I like them both. I love Cinderella Man when I seen that. When I saw Cinderella Man,
because when he talks about, it's like, what are you fighting for? He's like, I know what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for milk, because they do, he just, he had nothing. His family was destitute. He couldn't even afford to live, and he knew what he was fighting for. I love that show. And Mark Wahlberg, the one with about, Mickey Ward. Man, you can't beat that show, man. I mean, just almost out, and he out of the sport. Journeyman comes back and does what he does. I love those two movies, man. Those things motivate me all the time. Makes me just think, all right, Chris, you have more in you. Come on, just stay the course.
And Christian Bale was great as the brother. Yeah,
man, the drug addict.
I know, it was insane. What I like about those, that was The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg, and Cinderella Man about James J. Braddock, is that they're based on true stories. Whether there's stuff exaggerated or not, or whether you loved all the fight scenes. In The Fighter, I don't know about some of those fight scenes. Cinderella Man, I liked a lot, but it is a true story, so that makes it even more inspiring.
What about you, brother? What do you watch? What gets you motivated? What movies?
Oh, well, listen, man. Growing up, I was on the Rocky movies and stuff. But I watch a lot of different everything from the comic movies to the sci-fi movies. Movies that I think that you would like. I'll tell you right now, the new Dune movies. They're good, man. They're science fiction for grown-ups. I don't look at he's a grown-up. I can be a grown-up too sometimes. But when I say that, they're like, wait, are you the only grown-up that likes it? No, it's really well done. Star Wars, we lost that. It's kind of lost. But Dune, Paul Atreides, just there's so much that you'll watch with that, and it just the score, the music, the way the fight scenes, even just the dialogue of just. I don't want to give too much away, but Paul Atreides, when his balls start to drop, you're gonna love it. Watch the Dune movies and get back to me on those.
Next time I talk to you, I'm gonna have watched them.
All right. I'm doing it. What other kind of movies you like? You like comedies, dramas? I can't see you into the rom-coms.
Yeah.
Huh? Harry Met Sally?
I say probably one of my top, couple movies in the whatever. I love Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that. It's one of my favorites.
Pulp Fiction was great. You ever see True Romance?
Dude, come on, bro. That's another. I mean, what a good movie. What a great flick. So underrated. And a lot of people. I had somebody watch it. I mean, before I retired from the fire department, I had a guy watch it. He never heard of it. He's a young guy. I said, "You got to watch this movie." He was in love with it. I was like, "That, yeah." That's a Tarantino movie too. I mean, all those movies are amazing. Yeah,
Tony Scott directed it, but Quentin Tarantino wrote that. That's
what a cast of actors in there. I mean, unbelievable cast.
Oh yeah.
People don't realize. I mean, you had cameos by Dennis Hopper. You had Christopher Walken. That was a great scene. That one scene with those two in it was about as good as it gets. Brad Pitt's in it. I mean, James Gandolfini. And those aren't even the stars. Those are like the backup characters.
Yes.
What a cast.
Oh, dude, what an amazing movie. Listen to me. This was so much fun. Chris, did we lose him?
No, he's here.
Oh, he's here. Chris, I had so much fun. Dude, I could do this forever. Listen, man, 30 minutes. Shoney came close because it got stopped that first one with a few seconds left, but I didn't spend, we spent the most, I spent 29 minutes with it, but 30 minutes together in the cage, 6 weeks in the house. We're both doing well post-fight careers. I mean, shit, man. I can't wait to see you, dude, in person.
It's like you talked about. I think that we're doing so well right now. Part of that's because we liked how our career went, how it played out. A lot of people, you know this. A lot of people are very bitter about the fight game.
Yes.
You know, they don't have a good taste in their mouth. I think we both do because of what we were able to accomplish in the octagon. But it just shows a lot about our character, everything. But I'm just glad how, like you said, how few people are happy at the end of their career. I think, you know, I don't think it's a lot of them, man. I feel bad for a lot of people, but I'm just, you know, I'm loving what I see from you. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Dean Thomas.
Yes.
You know, I love what we've been able to do. It's just been, it puts a good feeling in my heart. I'm just happy for what you got going on, man. Every time I see you do anything, I'm happy. I am gonna tell you though, I am gonna make you come to a bare knuckle fight one of these times. Next time we're around you, you're coming. I'm getting you ringside, and we're gonna hang out. You're gonna have a good time,
dude. Any reason to hang out with you, I'm there. Anything else you want to promote before you get out of here?
Nah, man, I'm just, you know, just like that bare knuckle stuff. If you haven't watched it, the thing I love about it, people who haven't watched it, it basically takes away. It's 5 2-minute rounds. It's fast paced. We have 10 fights, 9 knockouts. I mean, people get wrecked. You take away all the boring stuff from fighting, you put it in one. That's what we got. I absolutely love watching that sport. So if anybody hasn't checked it out, BKMC.
Chris Lights Out Lytle. Thanks again, my friend. I'm going to talk to you soon, brother. Thank you, Warrior.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Take care, brother. That was great.
Yeah, he's
fucking great.
So let me ask you a question. Something he said, and I wonder,
man, he's such a great guy.
and I wonder if this has happened since.
What's
Something
that?
I'm glad that I can ask you now. So since you were in that Ultimate Fighter and they had to come back and then they gave a title fight, they haven't done that since yet.
I thought they did another thing with the comeback, but I don't fucking even remember.
But for the title?
No, not for the title.
How come they haven't done that again?
I don't know, man, but it works.
I know, that's
Shit.
what I'm saying.
I made it work.
Yeah, with the success. I'm surprised they never did it again.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, there's something I'm checking out. First of all, Bees Deep in From. I'm on the third season.
I was going to start it last night.
I'm on the third season, and I'm going. I'm already done with Silo. I can't wait till that comes out again.
Yeah.
Silo, we went through these series like nuts. Me and my wife.
Yeah.
I'm watching a show now, a movie I found on Apple TV.
The one with Miles Teller?
I'm enjoying the shit out of this.
Me too.
Gorge.
Yeah, it's fun.
Where did these things come from? Apple TV is getting some home runs.
Apple's is great. Do you watch Severance?
I started it, but I got to give it my own full attention.
You got to give about you can't ADD that
I can't
show.
be half in. Me and my wife started. I'm like, this is wacky enough that we could probably like this, but let's wait.
Lock in. First episode I couldn't stand because I'm like, there's this guy walking around the hallway. It's one of my favorite shows on TV.
Yeah, I've been hearing this, and I'm going to get back into it. We are a quarter of the way through of The Gorge.
Yeah, me too.
And did you see the whole thing?
Not yet.
No,
I'm about halfway through.
Dude, so far I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
And I love
Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy.
She's from Furiosa. She's great.
She's great.
Best birthday ever.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna see it. All right, hey, we'll be back soon next week. What else?
Yeah, I would tell people to go back. We're doing a lot. You have a lot of shorts that we've been clipping out now, and it's on your Instagram that you can see.
Check out my Instagram, Matt Serra BJJ on Instagram.
Yep.
Stay humble yet dangerous. Find your superpower. See you next week.